How's everyone doing? This is going to be a massive horror Blu-ray collection update with 21 pickups. And if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. And let me know which one of these is your favorite as well. Leave me those comments down below. This is essentially kind of like a recap video. I've done coverage, I think, for all of these titles, I'm pretty sure. And so I figured I'd do like a big, massive collection update of it, kind of recapping all the horror movies I've picked up in the last couple weeks. And I feel like sometimes people miss the previous videos, and people seem to like these ones where I show a bunch at once. I don't know, keyword. I don't want to say it's clickbait because it is accurate. So I don't know, but it seems to draw more attention when I have more movies to show than just like 4 or 5 at a time. So I feel like this way it'll get a little bit more exposure, but I don't think I'm going to go quite as in depth as I have in the previous updates on these. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts more so on these movies, you can definitely check out my previous updates with them in there. But now I'm just going to go over them and just talk about them briefly. First up is The Woman in Black 2, which this was a terrible sequel in my opinion. I really like the Daniel Radcliffe remake, and I would love to see the original Woman in Black movie get an official Blu-ray release. It had a DVD release in the US. I think it went out of print forever ago and went for crazy money. I have a bootleg. I remember being very creepy and atmospheric. The Radcliffe version remake was really surprisingly good. This one, though, doesn't have Daniel Radcliffe, doesn't have anybody well-known in there, and it is just too derivative. It's set during World War II, and a bunch of orphans are taken to the Eel Marsh house, and the lead little kid right there, he's got like zits and breakout on his face, like a rash and stuff. I feel like they could have put makeup on there. I thought initially they were trying to work it into, you know, what's going on, some diseases or something at the time, but he's the only kid out of all the orphan kids that has it. And there's a romance aspect there too with the one school teacher and this like World War II soldier nearby. But overall, it's the same thing. It's too reliant on jump scares. There's nothing new here, and it just kind of pales in comparison to the original and into the Daniel Radcliffe remake. This one was just below average to me, not worth it. I got this at the Dollar Tree, so it really isn't a big deal. Low risk, potential high reward, not necessarily here, but in other ones that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. Next up is the Vestron Video Collector Series Edition for Maximum Overdrive. And I have my old Anchor Bay DVD that was the out-of-print recalled one where it had the mangled body and the grill. And I was thinking about getting rid of that one because that was recalled and they reissued it because I guess people were complaining, probably parents and stuff, that it was too graphic, and they released it without the body in there. Let me know if I should get rid of that or keep it. I was kind of keeping for the memories of that and, you know, being rare and collectible and stuff. But now I have this one right here, which is the Blu-ray, which has a ton of special features and better picture quality, audio quality, all that stuff. So let me know your thoughts on that. Have you kept a lot of your old horror DVDs? Have you collected them, especially Anchor Bay editions? I still have a bunch of the Anchor Bay 10s and all kinds of different things. I even have some old VHS sets and stuff, even though I have like the Blu-rays and stuff like that, because I don't know, I'm a collector, and I feel like if you're a horror fan especially, it kind of drives the market for physical media. But this is a really good Stephen King adaptation. There's a comet and it messes up the magnetic fields and machines are going crazy, killing people. Stephen King has a small cameo in here. I think he's at the ATM machine, but Emilio Estevez, a few other recognizable people, are holed up in the diner and trying to fight to survive. And I haven't seen anything new from Vestron Video Collector Series in a long time. This might have been the last one. I can't fully recall, but this is spine number 17 for the Vestron Video Collector Series. The only one I didn't like in the series was Parents. I remember watching it as a kid and liking it. Watching it now, though, I thought it was nothing special, very light on the horror elements and just below average. I feel like I'm one of the only people that feels that way, though. But let me know what your favorite Vestron Video Collector Series release is and what you'd like to see them release in the future. Next up is The Lure, which is a Criterion Collection release. I'd like to see Criterion release more horror movies. This is a Polish movie about mermaids. I guess they say it's a kind of a twisted take on the fairy tale of Hans Christian Andersen's A Little Mermaid. It's a darkly feminist twist on it, they say. So these mermaids are in alternate 1980s Poland, and they're working in a nightclub because their siren song and their aura attracts people. And then one of the sisters, there's two of them, falls for a human, and it kind of divides them. And this is apparently the directorial debut of Agnieszka Smosminska. I'm butchering that big time, mispronouncing it, but Heard great things about it. The scenes I've seen look amazing, so definitely excited to check it out. And I think it's like got a synth pop soundtrack, which will be fitting for the 80s. This came out in 2015. Criterion Collection does an amazing job with the releases, as does Arrow Video. These are two of my favorite companies releasing Blu-rays today. Pulse, J-Horror, super creepy, atmospheric. I like the American remake too. That gets a lot of criticism, but yeah, basically about the burgeoning internet and social media aspect in Japan. There's been murders and deaths and suicides, and do you want to see a ghost? It's what one website says, and people are trying to figure out what's going on, and just super creeptastic. And nice release from Arrow Video. 2 discs and some creepy scenes. Definitely ahead of its time as well. And another beautiful release from Arrow Video. Next up is probably one of my favorite releases from Arrow Video. Let me know what your favorite Arrow Video release is and what you'd like to see them release in the future too. Basket Case, love that. Dwayne and Belial, the 2 brothers are split up, and Belial is this, creature hiding in the basket right here. What's in the basket? And it's seedy, dirty, grimy. I love the look to New York City, that hotel. And just Belial itself is just awesome. But yeah, shoestring budget. And I remember in an interview, Frank Henenlotter said it was like $35,000 to make this. And then at one scene, at one point they're almost out of money, and they said there's a scene where there's like balled up money on the floor, and that's what they had left to finish the film with. But a ton of special features right there. New 4K restoration from original 16mm negative by MoMA. So that is pretty amazing. And I love that slip cover right there. And the artwork. There's Belial right there. Love his noises that he makes. And yeah, I love the heck out of this film. Beautiful release. I'm not a big fan of the sequels so much, outside of seeing some of the cool, unique looks to the other creatures and stuff in there. But this is a Frank Henenlotter classic. One of my favorites. I really like Brain Damage too, but I'd say this is my favorite from him. Frankenhooker gets a lot of love, but to me, I love this one the most. One of my favorite Arrow Video releases too, for standalone releases. Next up is Leprechaun Returns from Lionsgate. I remember seeing this on the Sci-Fi Channel. I thought it was a bit disappointing. They're the sorority that has self-sustaining food that they're trying to make. They're living kind of like a farmhouse. There's only like 5 girls in the sorority. That I don't think you're even allowed to be a sorority with that few amount of people. Then some of the guys come and that are interested in hooking up there. And then there's they're helping out too. And then there's the tie-in with Jennifer Aniston being the mother of one of the girls, and some other characters coming back. And then the Leprechaun. I wasn't a big fan of it. I feel like the Leprechaun didn't have the best lines, the one-liners in here. Some of the girls had better one-liners than him. Below average, not my favorite from the Leprechaun franchise. I really like the Leprechaun Origin one, which a lot of people hated, with Hornswoggle. I thought it was really cool and unique and something different, a little bit darker. I feel like a lot of people didn't like the look to Leprechaun because it was different, but I appreciated it. This goes back to the goofier elements right there. Let me know what your favorite Leprechaun sequel is. I'm going to revisit this one, though. Next up is I Still See You, which is kind of a YA horror, young adult horror. It's kind of a romantic, supernatural thrill is what it's billed as, but it has horror elements. There's an explosion, and it kills a bunch of people, and there's these ghosts that kind of haunt the earth. They're kind of living their last day over and over in this cycle. They're called Remnants, and then Bella Thorne is the lead actress here. I don't think she's a great actress, and I was kind of going into it with low expectations because of it, but it was much better than I was expecting it to be, but it could have been even much better than it actually is. It had the potential to be way better, and I love how it ties in. Dermot Mulroney's in here too, how it ties together rather, and it does have some good atmosphere and a washed out hue to the film, which again reflects the bleak tone. But yeah, basically there's this one remnant who starts to be violent. Basically, usually they do the same routine, and not affecting real people, people that are still alive, but this one is kind of being threatening to her, and she's trying to figure out what's going on and what the whole deal is, and get to the bottom of certain things. I thought it was decent, but it could have been better. Next up is Short Night of Glass Dolls. This is Twilight Time, limited to 3,000 copies right there. I think this is the future of physical media releases. I don't think we'll ever be done with physical media. Vinyl records are doing so well right now, and have been for years. But I feel like this is limited to 3,000 copies. Smaller companies will be doing things like that. The bigger companies like Universal, Lionsgate, Disney, Warner Brothers, Fox, Sony. They'll be releasing like 500,000, 300,000 copies, 100,000 copies. Makes you think of the old Anchor Bay releases that had like limited edition to 100,000 copies. Like, that's not limited. But this is a giallo. It's basically about an American reporter who's trapped inside his apparently dead body, and he's trying to figure out what happened to his girlfriend who disappeared. And the score is by Ennio Morricone. Looking forward to checking this one out. Next up is Madman. This is the UK Arrow Video release, but it is region free. And I always thought Victor Crowley from the Hatchet series was influenced by kind of a combination of Madman Mars and then Cropsy from The Burning. And then this is Madman Mars is kind of like an urban legend story told around a campfire by a bunch of like camp counselors, and basically about Madman Mars, who's a farmer who kills his kids and wife, and then the locals, town people, for his heinous act, takes an axe to his head, and then they hang him in a nearby tree, and then the next day his body's gone, and it says that, he's haunting the woods in the farmhouse area, and whoever says his name above a whisper, he'll come out and kill you. So kind of formulaic, but I really love the look to Madman Mars. Great special features here too. The lead actor goes back and shows some of the props and stuff. And I'll go ahead and show you the interior. There he is. That's awesome. There he is right there too. But I dig the heck out of this one. Really good slasher movie. Kind of underrated for a long time. I feel like this release definitely helped it get more, the past couple Blu-ray releases, in fact. So got it more attention, which it definitely deserved. Good low budget slasher right here. And next up is the Burr with the Crystal Plumage, the directorial debut of Dario Argento from 1970. Really good giallo, and also has the score from Ennio Morricone. And this is a new 4K restored limited edition release. Nice outer slipcase right here. And you get a nice poster. I'll go ahead and show you that. It's a dual-sided, thick paper stock. You get that newly commissioned artwork right there. And that artwork. So that's really nice. And then you get a nice, thick booklet. I love when they come with the booklets like that. If you're a fan of the film, it's amazing. I love that artwork right there. Special features. And then you get lobby cards and stuff in here too, a bunch of those. And then there's the newly commissioned reversible artwork. And then you get the swing tray, 2 discs. So yeah, I love what Arrow Video does. One of the best companies releasing as far as the transfers, the special features, the films that they choose. And then the reversible artwork, newly commissioned artwork. And then even the clear cases, things like that. The booklets, unique disc artwork. But I love what they do with their standalone releases, but then the box sets are phenomenal. Beautiful. Next up is Revenge, which is a French attack revenge movie. Let me know what your favorite attack revenge movie is in the style of like I Spit on Your Grave, things like that. I'm trying not to say certain keywords. This is very stylistic, but nothing new here. But the lead actress, Matilda Lutz, is amazing in her role. Basically, she's attacked, and she's not really seeking revenge per se, because she's being hunted down. They leave her for dead, and then they're looking for her, but she outwits them. And there's really only 3 kills in the whole movie, and the first 2 are just, they're okay, but it's really the climax is amazing. Very stylistic. I love the way that it's shot. Very grimy, but yet beautiful at the same time. And she's stunning and amazing in her role. And the climax is bloody awesomeness. I love the heck out of it. Some good effects there too. But one of the best of its ilk too, especially modern-wise for the attack revenge genre. Next up is Train to Busan. Let me know what your favorite modern zombie or infected movie is. This is a all-out, balls-to-the-wall zombie, infected movie, which part of it takes place on a train right here. And I always keep the back J card too. And there you go. And I'll go ahead and show you the interior right there. Which I like the zombies, the look to them. And this is a Korean zombie film. And I'd like to see a lot more steelbooks for releases like this too. It's from Welgo USA. They have some nice horror releases, but I'd like to see them do more of the steelbook ones. Next up is Cloverfield Paradox from Paramount. Another expansion in the Cloverfield universe set in space. They're looking for a new energy source Earth is kind of going on a brink of a devastating energy war, and there's a bunch of scientists trying to find a new source, and there's some creepy things happening, some creepy imagery, and at the end you kind of get a better look at the Cloverfield universe and the expansion of it. This includes over 25 minutes of never before seen special features, really good acting performances here, and some creepy scenes. Not quite on the level of Event Horizon, but does have some creepy imagery. Event Horizon is one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies, like set in like a space station or a spaceship. Outside of like Aliens, that whole genre, let me know what your favorite sci-fi horror movie is, especially ones that are set in space. Next up is Byzantium. This is a gothic vampire movie from Neil Jordan, director of Interview with a Vampire. Stars Gemma Arterton and Sarah Ronan. I know I'm mispronouncing her name. Forgive me for that. But she's been in a ton of movies recently. It's a mother-daughter vampire duo right here, and they've been around for 200 years, but they're being hunted down. And I really enjoyed the heck out of this one. I put off watching it for so long, and I regret doing so. But this is to me, super underrated. I would highly recommend it if you like, gothic horror and vampire horror. I'm not the biggest fan of gothic or, Victorian era or things like that, the older style. I've just never been into that, but there's a few exceptions. But this one is definitely one of them. And a really good vampire film, modern vampire movie. And I love where they go to be turned into the vampire. That look, that whole part, just amazing to me. Next up is Extremity. And this was an IFC release, by the way. I love IFC. Next up, this is a Dread Central Epic Pictures release, and I like how they have the numbering on the spine for theirs. I hated the concept. I thought it was so absurd. It's basically about this woman, Allison, who has emotional trauma from her childhood, and she's going to this basically extreme haunt called Perdition, and it's her and another person, another guy, and basically she's going there to try to get over her psychological trauma. She's basically, I think that she'll get scared out of it. To me, it just didn't make sense, but I love the climax to this. The last like 15 minutes were amazing, definitely worthwhile. The lead actress was awesome. Good gore effects here too. Some good special features. I feel like the last 15 minutes really saves the film and makes it worth checking out. Next up is Bloody Birthday, which is another Arrow Video release. Now, the 7 release, which came out for this before, has a different transfer. And I feel like some people say they prefer the 7 release for the transfer, so definitely check out, because it has a different kind of color tint to it. Check out the screenshots online to see which version you like the best for that aspect, the new 2K restoration, but this has really good special features on here, so I definitely recommend it for that regard too. Basically, it's a killer kid slasher movie from, I think, 1981, has Julie Brown in it, Lori Lethin from A Return to Horror High and The Prey. It's basically about these group of kids who were born during a solar eclipse. That's what it was. Like another movie was during a comet, Maximum Overdrive, sometimes the full moon, all that kind of stuff. But it's during a solar eclipse, and they basically become little killers. And this is definitely one of the better evil killer kid movies out there. Who Can Kill a Child, aka Island of the Damned, is my all-time favorite. I'm glad to see that recently got a Blu-ray release too. But this is definitely one of the better ones out there. And the advertisement for other releases. And I'll just, go ahead and show you the reversible artwork too, which that's the newly commissioned artwork. I definitely prefer that artwork right there. And then, there's other titles with birthday in there. Is Happy Birthday to Me, which is one that got a Mill Creek release. It had a double feature release with When a Stranger Calls, but then they have the VHS retro artwork slipcover one, which I really liked. And next up on here is Happy Death Day, which I really love the heck out of this one. Basically Groundhog Day, but a horror version of it. The lead actress in here, Jessica Roth, is amazing. She's celebrating her birthday, and basically every day she's being killed by this babyface killer, and she's reliving the day over and over. And she has to figure out who it is and gets to the bottom of it, and so she doesn't have to keep reliving this nightmare every day. I was able to get this signed up by Rob Mello, who played the serial killer in here, so that was pretty cool. I like getting signatures for movies that I'm a fan of. If you have any autographed Blu-rays or DVDs, let me know which is your favorite, and if you have any movie memorabilia in general, let me know. But I really enjoyed the heck out of this one. Wasn't a big fan of the sequel. It was too derivative. Even though they tried something unique, it was the same kind of thing still. And I didn't like what they changed for it, but I hope they make a third. It deserves a trilogy, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the sequel. Next up, this is a UK release right here. Import, it's region free though. You can tell by the obtrusive rating logos right there. Again, Germany has them. Most countries have them except for the US. I'm so thankful we don't. Australia usually has a really big one right there. I just think it looks so obtrusive and just, I hate it. It takes away from the artwork as well. But this is a really atmospheric one, very creepy. Again, this has a washed out hue, lots of grays and blacks and things like that, which reflects the bleak tone. There's a body from the morgue that goes missing, and the night guard is in a coma because he's so afraid, and he's trying to figure out where the body went to and how this could have happened. And he's the main suspect is the dead body's widower, I guess, and basically he's trying to investigate, figure out what happened, and he's also has his own demons, the detective who's doing that, the case study right there. So I thought this one was pretty atmospheric and creepy, but I really like Julia's Eyes. I actually prefer that one. It's from the producers of The Orphanage and Julia's Eyes. I feel like The Orphanage gets a lot of love. Julia's Eyes is definitely one that I think is underrated, as is The Body. Next up is Some Kind of Hate, which is an RLJ Entertainment release. I feel like this got a lot of criticism, and I really enjoyed the heck out of it. The lead girl who plays Mora, her character is just so crazy. She's like this ghost that comes back, and basically there's this one kid who gets bullied. He kind of looks very goth, and he's sent to this school for troubled kids, and even though he was the one that was being bullied. And then there's all these other kids with emotional problems and stuff, and some of them start bullying him. And then there's a love interest right there with this chick who's super stunningly hot. And so they're hooking up, but she also is seeing the other guy who's bullying him. And then the spirit of Mora comes out, and she's basically killing everybody who's connected to him. And it's just crazy, and I love the heck out of it. I feel like I got a lot of criticism, but I enjoyed it. I feel like there could have been some improvements, but still, it's one that I'm definitely happy to have in my collection. Next up is President's Day. This is a horror pack exclusive Blu-ray. This has Cool Duder on here, and it's a very low-budget, shoestring budget slasher movie set in Lincoln High. And then the lead killer dresses up as Abraham Lincoln, which I think is kind of cool and unique in itself. There's a few other recognizable people in here, especially if you're a fan of low-budget horror. Ruby LaRocca, who's been in a bunch of different low-budget horror movies. And in fact, she's, I think, worked with Cool Duder before. Zombie Babies, I think, was one of the ones that I saw. That was a super cheesy, fun one. That had editing issues, but overall, I still liked it. But again, if you're a fan of really low-budget slashers, I think you'll enjoy this one. But again, I say that with that caveat. You have to be a fan of really like shoestring low-budget horror. Because if you're a fan of just the mainstream ones, you might be let down by the effects and the acting here. But for what it was, I thought it was enjoyable. Again, it's a slasher movie in high school, and they're trying to figure out who the killer is. And then last but not least is The Strain, the complete third season. I feel like this completes my series for this on the standalone seasons right here. And I have the master bust set for the complete first season, which I believe is a Blu-ray set. And then the rest of the releases, I think, were on DVD. And I hate when TV shows do that. That happens quite often. Like the first season was Blu-ray, and then the rest are DVDs. I hate it so much. Happens all the time. And then the bust set, by the way, is a smaller bust set. Like I have all these other bust sets, and they're bigger. So I didn't like that too. I wish they would have done. I still think it's cool looking, but for the complete series for this, a bigger bust set of the master. But this is a really underrated horror TV show, vampire one. Let me know what a horror TV show is that you think is underrated. The most underrated horror TV show that comes to your mind. But I feel like the effects were really good here. A lot of people were criticizing the effects. I feel like they were on par with like Walking Dead and other big horror TV shows. Definitely improved after the first season as well. But great actors. I love the unique take on the vampire genre, the master, that symbiotic relationship. I loved the heck out of it. All the characters and how they interacted and their relationships. Palpable tension and just very well done. And I think it ended too soon and it didn't get enough love. Very underrated. Love the heck out of The Strain. And I like the releases too, by the way, for Fox as far as what they do. They put the chapters or the episode guides right there, and then the swing tray. Very simplistic, but it works. And a lot of companies, they'll stack the disc or do sleeves or something like that for TV shows. This is the best way to do it. So there you go. Those are the 21 pickups, horror movies and TV show right there. Let me know if you've seen any of these movies and which one of these was your favorite as well. Leave me those comments down below, and I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.